Hey guys, and welcome back to another NBA offseason review. Today, we're doing the Dallas Mavericks. They made some really big moves this offseason. So let's go ahead and go through them immediately. So the first big move that they made, which pretty much defined the first round and the first 10 picks of the NBA draft, was the major trade that they made. They had the 5th pick from the lottery. They traded that along with a 2019 top 10 protected pick in next year's draft for Luka Doncic. They ended up getting Trae Young. So Trae Young and that top 10 pick went to Atlanta in exchange for Luka Doncic. Now, Luka Doncic was a pretty big mystery in this year's draft. He's played with some of the best players in the world, but nobody really knows or has been able to compare him to the usual competition that we see from NBA rookies. For Luka, he's pretty much an all-around really solid player. Amazing basketball IQ, very clutch. He's played against the best players in the world in the Euro League, for one of the best teams in the Euro League, and Real Madrid. He's 6'7", but can handle the ball like a guard, and most of the time ran point or ran sort of like a Ben Simmons mold, where he has the ball in his hands for the EuroLeague team. He's only 19 years old, so he's one of the younger rookies in this year's draft class. You have people that came out later, but the upside for Luka Doncic is so incredible. At 15 years old, he started playing pro basketball in overseas in Europe, and he has just been killing them ever since. This past season, he averaged 15, 5, and 5 with Real Madrid. He went through and won the regular season MVP and their playoff MVP for Real Madrid. They ended up winning the EuroLeague title, and Luka Doncic was a main factor in that. He's a pretty good shooter. He can be streaky from the three-point line, and his athleticism is a bit questionable. But those are the real only cons or questions in Luka Doncic's game. He's a fantastic offensive player, is long enough and strong enough to deal with bigger guards, but his perimeter speed and lateral quickness are a little bit under the microscope at this time. But they gave up Trae Young. Now, I know people are a lot of people are very high on Trae Young, but his NBA success is by far more questionable than Luka Doncic. Doncic, to me, is a surefire starter in the NBA for years to come. Trae Young, we don't know how good he's going to be. If he can become the Steph Curry-esque player, then obviously this move will be fantastic for Atlanta. But if he's flaming out like a Jimmer Fredette or somebody, then we're just going to have to wait and see how Trae Young does in his first couple years to really judge how good a trade this was. The other part of the pick, which people seem to really forget about, is that 2019 top 10 protected pick. Now, the Dallas Mavericks did also make another move that I'm going to bring up later that does impact this pick. But just looking at the roster as it is right now with Luka, this team is not going to be a playoff team in the West. It's simple as that. But they're not going to have a top 5 pick again. Dennis Smith Jr. is developing. They add Luka Doncic. They re-signed some other players. And the 2019 draft class is not close to being as good as this past 2018 one was. In 2019, you have probably about 6 players that are really good. Meanwhile, in this draft, you had 8 to 9 players that were players that you could really possibly build your team around. Next year, you got Cameron Reddish, Javon Quinterly, you got Bol, Zion Williamson, Cameron Reddish, RJ Barrett, and besides that, I can't really think of anybody else that is a surefire pick for next year's draft. But this actually lends itself to the other move made by Dallas this offseason, and that was a major free agent signing in DeAndre Jordan. Yeah, a couple years ago, there was the whole Chris Paul, Blake Griffin locking DeAndre in his own house, making him re-sign with LA. DeAndre gave a verbal to sign with Dallas and then rescinded on it. Went back to LA, and we all saw how that ended up. But he finally came to Dallas. I honestly think he should have gone in the first place, get his own deal. He signed a 1-year, $24 million deal. It's basically a rental. So you get DeAndre Jordan, one of the best centers in the league, a shot blocker, a rebounder, extremely athletic, and you get him for a year. Now, you're paying him $24 million, but if it works out, you're able to re-sign DeAndre Jordan next year, and you're getting yourself a defensive anchor for the next 3 to 4 years. And that isn't really, to me, the biggest part of this DeAndre Jordan signing for Dallas. DeAndre Jordan allows every other player to play more freely, and this goes with any other shot blocker. When you have a shot blocker like a DeAndre Jordan, back in the day, you had players like Dikembe Mutombo, or just really solid defensive players. That opens up the floor for the rest of your team. Luka Doncic and Dennis Smith Jr. will not have to worry about players beating them off the dribble and being able to get free layups, because DeAndre Jordan's going to be back there swatting shots and delivering good outlet passes to allow Dennis Smith Jr. and Luka Doncic to run the floor. And DeAndre Jordan, we all know he's a fantastic lob finisher, so that just gives Luka and Dennis Smith Jr. another option on the offensive end. I really love this pick. I love this pickup for Dallas. I know it's 1 year, but you prove to DeAndre that he should spend the rest of his career there. Then you have a fantastic center that can really aid in the development of your 2 young rookies. Those 2 young rookies are going to carry this Dallas team for the future. I thought Dennis Smith Jr. was going to be one of the best rookies in his first year. He didn't do that well, but I still think he's going to be one of the best rookies coming out of that class in the next couple years. He's extremely athletic. He can create his own shot. And that's what complements Luka Doncic. Dennis Smith Jr. is the athlete. He's he's a great defender. Can really create his own shot off the bounce. And that fits with Luka Doncic, because Luka Doncic, there's been questions about him creating his own shot, his defensive intensity, and his athleticism. So they really mesh and pair together pretty much perfectly at this point. Other moves Dallas has made, they re-signed Dirk, which that locker room presence is always appreciated. That's really going to help both the rookies and even DeAndre Jordan, maybe with his free throws or something on the offensive end. But then the wild card. They traded the 54th pick, which I believe was DeAnthony Melton from SNU, for, I believe, another second-round pick, but Kostas Antetokounmpo out of SMU. Kostas Antetokounmpo. You hear that last name, and you think Giannis. And with the last name of Antetokounmpo and that family lineage, you got to take a fly on him. I mean, he was the last pick in the draft. There's zero downside to this. You get an Antetokounmpo who could turn into a shade of what his brother is, you hit the lottery. If he doesn't do well and he flames out, it's a second-round pick. You already got another prospect in that trade, along with Kostas, to cover you in case it doesn't work out. But overall, looking back at this Dallas Mavericks offseason, there was really no moves that I disagreed with. They kept the majority of their team intact. Their team looks poised for a playoff run in the next 3 to 4 years. Luka Doncic develops, Dennis Smith Jr. develops, you possibly re-sign DeAndre Jordan. Very, very potent team within the next 4 years. Looking at this overall offseason, I'd have to give them a solid A-. I mean, the only thing I'd take away from them is giving up that 2019 pick and only getting DeAndre for a year. But besides that, there's really nothing that I didn't like about this Dallas Mavericks offseason. So I'm giving them an A-. But guys, let me know what you thought of the Dallas Mavericks offseason in the comment section below. I will be coming out with another offseason review very soon, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.